Welcome everybody to another NewSo webinar. Excited to have you all here with us and excited to be talking about what we're talking about today. You can see that on screen. You know, the truth of the matter is, and we've got some really cool stats we're going to go over and stuff like that, but your customers, they're already texting businesses. To throw some numbers at you right out the gate, 89% of them have already opted in to getting text from at least one other business out there. And that could be, the pizza joint down the street. It could be a competitor, right? And what's crazy is more than half have texted a business and gotten no response back. And that is something that we're really talking about today. That's kind of the whole point, is which side of the fence are you on as a business or as a partner of ours who's enabling businesses? Are you do you have texting? Do you have the ability to receive and manage those interactions or not? And so really cool stuff we're going to be talking about today. A couple of housekeeping things here before I talk about myself and Anthony and what we'll be talking about. But we record our webinars. We're going to be sending them out in post next week. So if you got to leave early or you want to show this to someone in the office or whatever, that will go to everybody that registered, whether they joined or not. And then we have a Q&A. It's open from the very start of this webinar. We get to everything, right around the 20-minute mark. Me and Anthony will be talking for right around that amount of time. And then we love to dive into live questions. So if you have them, as I'm talking, Anthony's talking, please throw them in the Q&A right away. And we will get to those again at the later half of the session. What we're going to be covering today, you can see that on screen. And real quick intros. My name's Phil Stern. I'm the partner program manager here at NewSo. Behind the scenes, I do partner enablement mainly. So I'm creating content, working with our partners to help them in their journey. And then I, create videos, training guides. I even work with customers on implementation, learning the new technologies that get deployed, all that stuff. With me, Anthony Ruano. How you doing, Anthony? And why don't you just tell everybody what you do here at NewSo?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Yeah. So again, Anthony Ruano, Senior Solutions Engineer here at NewSo. Been here a long time. So some of the partners, I'm sure, or even some of the customers that maybe even on, we've spoken in the past at some point. And my job covers everything from pre-sales to post-sales to training, on-site, off.
Anthony had seen and been a part of almost any type of interaction you can think of when it comes to the world of VoIP, SMS, phone systems, just so much knowledge. So super excited to have you here with us, Anthony.
Thanks.
And before we jump into the meat and bones of this, we are talking to basically two audiences today. We've got end users with us. So customers that are using NewSo technology today, whether you're on our phone system, contact center, whatever it might be. We've also got our partners with us. So we've got points that are going to be directed to kind of both audiences. A lot of it's relevant to the both, but those are kind of the audiences with us today. We're super excited to have everybody with us. So why business texting? Well, calls go unanswered, emails go unread, and the customer simply moves on. Okay. 53% of consumers have texted a business and received no reply. We touched on that a little earlier. Specifically though, to use a term I love, I don't think my generation created this, but 42% say they've been ghosted by a brand over SMS. And if you don't know what ghosted means, I encourage you to whip out Google and ask it for yourself. It's not a pretty term. Nobody wants to be ghosted. It means you're just no one's responding. It's awful, right? And that ghosting took place on a business number. If you're a business right now and you don't have texting, it could be happening right now. Maybe it happened a month ago. Someone tries to text your business. It's a number that you own, but because you don't have text enablement on it, you don't see the interaction. You don't know it ever happened, and you have no way of responding to it. Okay. So this is something that, again, a lot of people have experienced because there's businesses out there that don't offer texting of any kind, and they have no way to engage with this business, this interaction that is coming their way. Now, the proof is truly in the data, and I'm going to splatter some on screen. And there is so much data out there. Texting has been out for quite some time. I mean, I remember getting it on my cell phone in the early 2000s. Back then it cost per text, which wasn't very fun, but it's been around. But for businesses, maybe your business, maybe your customer base is a partner with ours, you haven't thought about this, but truly these numbers are powerful and compelling. So I'm going to touch on two of them here. The first one is this one on the left. So 89% of consumers have opted into text from a business, and that is up from 66% just 5 years ago. And this is very relevant data. This came from a Easy Texting 2026 Consumer Texting Behavior Report. It just happened in January of this year. So this isn't some stat from 2023. This is very relevant. Another one I want to touch on is this one over here, 12.39% SMS click rate versus 0.74% on email. Now, that's not to say email is completely irrelevant. I mean, we all work with email every day, but that is extremely compelling from an engagement standpoint. And this, again, comes from a very powerful survey. This was right here in 2025. So we've got two different data points coming in from different surveys, very recent, that are showing extremely high engagement volume numbers when it comes to texting and having that enablement there. So the proof is truly in the numbers. And I could yap on this all day long. There's so many stats about this, but these two I really wanted to touch on specifically. Anthony, did you want to add anything to this?
No, it's just, well, yes, I guess, right? Because I always need to add something somewhere, right?
Right.
The open rates are huge, and I'm going to get into some of the more on the use case side of things on really where that makes sense. One of the important ones, which Phil had mentioned earlier, is there's people texting your number and you don't know. And that's a biggie. And you realize it at day one, when you start receiving text messages that you weren't expecting to get in to your business number. But we're going to cover that once we go into some of the use cases for it. But yeah, that's all I got so far.
Yeah, that feeling of leaving money on the table is something nobody ever wants to experience. So let's talk about the gap. So I'm just going to go through this left to right. What are consumers doing? So we've already talked about this, but close to 90%, they've opted in. They are willing to receive interactions with businesses through texting. 85% want appointment notifications by text. Personally, it's one of my favorite things in the world. I got a lot going on, wife, little kids, job. Those reminders through text are the greatest thing in the world. 59%, that is quite a bit over 50%. They say it's the most effective channel. That's the way they want to be communicated with. And I know that there's a whole other conversation to talk about the younger generation. And I'm 37. Most people my age and below, texting is how they want to communicate with everybody. I was talking to my younger brother who's 23 the other day. He can't remember the last time he made a phone call. So not that phones are irrelevant, but it's a real thing. The younger generation, they live and breathe by the texting channel. Some of the things businesses are doing. 31% of businesses text for sales or lead gen. It's another touch point, another path to reach out to that prospect to potentially get or land that sale. 38% of businesses text for payments. Super relevant. There's a lot of apps that are doing that, but there's also tons of texting is happening for payments. It's just so easy and quick. We're all living such busy lives. Meet the customer where they want to be. If you can get payment through a text, I mean, it's just so simple. And then 63% of businesses cannot track texting ROI at all, unchanged year over year. So no way to track, no way to, know how much revenue you're getting through your texts, because maybe it's something, again, an avenue you're not even looking at because you don't have the enablement there. Let's talk about the different industries, the different sectors. Maybe you're a business right now and, you don't have texting because you just never thought it was relevant to you. Well, these are some great examples of different industries that are using them. If you're a partner of ours and you don't know how to implement this to your customer base, these are really very compelling as well. I'll touch on two of these. Professional services is one of my favorite. The ability to have scheduled messages. So this could be appointment reminders, notifications of promotions coming up, being able to queue these up for specific customers and have them go out when you want. It's a way to increase engagement and hopefully build a pipeline and build sales, whatever it needs to be, or increase appointment rates so people aren't missing, appointments that lead to revenue, right? Another thing is, property management, education. You can do notifications like closer notices. I mean, most of us that live in the United States probably have experienced some type of weather event where we got to shut down, or maybe we're just out of commission because the big storm came through, whatever. We can let our base know, hey, if they text you and you're not open, you can have an automatic reply go out through one of our platforms that Anthony's going to talk about. And it lets everybody know, hey, we're closed because of the weather that is affecting our region. So those are really powerful, almost automated interactions that are just letting your customers know that you care enough, and you're letting them know what's going on within the business. And there's not just nothing. When there's nothing, people tend to speculate. Nobody wants that. Usually doesn't go down a good path. And what's really cool, before I go to the next one, last point, is that what all of these have in common, it is an industry. It's really the shape of the movement. So something customers need to know now, and a phone call is the wrong tool for it, right? Or maybe it's like my younger brother. He's not going to pick up the phone call. He's not going to pick up the phone. He's going to text. And that's the way the world is. The world is always evolving and changing, and so are technologies. All right. Now, this is where I'm going to kind of pass things off into Anthony's world and talk about how implementation works and how we can kind of jump into this and get things moving.
Yeah. So, and thanks, Phil. One of the main things I think, and it's usually one of the bigger concerns about it, is my phone numbers. Every single phone number is text enabled. Okay. So anywhere from your landline number to your toll-free number to a number that you're using with another service provider, we can enable text messaging on any of those numbers. So you don't have to change your number and still receive text messages at it. Right. And I'm going to go into kind of on the main number side of things and so on and so forth. But it's a really good thing to keep in mind. You do not have to change your number whatsoever. We're actually going to help you handle and navigate through the campaign registry. What the campaign registry is, it's a vetting process that's governed now by the cell phone companies to ensure that text messages are coming from a vetted organization and that there's no funny business going on with that. It's protecting your company. It's also protecting whoever's receiving or sending you text messages. There's a couple different ways to access it too, right? So wherever they are, they're able to do it. So we have, and we're going to go through the 4 different solutions where we're able to enable text messaging as well, right? But things could be browser-based, app-based on the computer.
As Anthony was saying, we've got multiple ways that this can be deployed, various products. We're going to touch on those here in just a second. Oh, Anthony, you back?
I'm back. I didn't even know that. There we go. Hold on. And then, so again, various different platforms that you can use it on, right? Doesn't matter where you are. So even if it's a mobile worker, they're still able to send and receive text messages from an organization-owned number. And there's a couple different ways to send and receive them, right? So on a one-to-one basis, we can also go one-to-many or many-to-one on there, which we'll get into a little bit deeper detail with that for you. All right, now let's get to the fun stuff. So the deployment options that Nuso offers you for SMS services. First one, which is our Nuso UC platforms. Okay, so it's the hosted voice that you're used to. This is really what's going to work more on that one-to-one conversation. Okay. Your second option, this is Simply Connect. So when I mentioned many-to-one or one-to-many, or actually texting into your main phone number, this is the product that's going to do that for you. Okay. You have a shared inbox. You can run campaigns, different automations that are on there. One of my favorite ones, and actually one of the higher used ones on there, which we'll talk about again in more detail, but I love to mention this, is an auto reply. an auto reply after business hours is probably one of the best things that you can add to your business when they're calling in, especially if they're when they're texting in. I'm sorry about that. So again, I like to go into more detail on that one as well. But we can also text through Microsoft Teams. So if you're a Microsoft Teams user, okay, we've actually built something called Message Connect, which is an app that's going to live inside of Teams for SMS as well as MMS clients on there. And then lastly, we are a global Zoom distributor. So you are able to activate and send and receive text messages directly from your Zoom phone platform. So 4 different ways to actually use our text messaging options. Just really which one fits you best, or which services are the ones that you're using at the moment.
Yep.
All right. So this is Simply Connect, is what we're looking at here. This is where I mentioned that you're going to have the shared inbox. It's viewable to all of your users that are part of that one phone number. So for example, the phone number here says Phil Stern. That could actually be your sales line or customer support line. And any of the agents that you've actually added in there are able to see the messages that are coming in. They can send messages out. But the beauty is that the system is actually going to show you which one of the users is responding back. So you're not having double replies. Okay.
Yeah. So I go out on vacation for a week. Anthony can see everything I've done and carry on conversations as if nothing ever happened.
Exactly.
The customer I'm working with doesn't even know it's not me.
The end customer doesn't know it's not them. Here you're able to set the auto replies, which again, an after hours text message. And there's 2 big points here, right? When you activate your business phone number, especially your main phone number, you're going to start to receive text messages that you're like, what? And somebody's probably been texting you for a long time, especially if the youngers that don't want to call anybody anymore. I love the phone. You could send me a chat or a text message. I'm calling you back right away. And then the auto replies after business hours are huge because you can just set an auto reply. This inbox isn't monitored after business hours. We'll get back to you in the morning. If it's an emergency, call this number, right? But what that does, it gave your customer a better user experience by them actually receiving something back instead of, well, like Phil said, being ghosted, right? So they're actually getting a response back. Another great thing, you have suggested replies based on keywords, right? So, and these are things that we can get on other calls, right? And really go into detail on it, but it really starts to simplify and enhance your current communication stack.
Yep. It doesn't stop there though with Simply Connect.
It doesn't, right? So we have the schedule and recurring messages. So this is the interface that you would see if we're going to go ahead and do let's say a blast type message. Phil, I think that there's a misspelling on this. I didn't want to point that out.
Oh yeah, you got mine.
I had to get it on there.
Thanks for pointing that out.
This is how kind of flexible the solution is, right? So we talk about attorneys or professional services or retail. But if you have a restaurant and you want to send out a text message every morning with your menu.
On that point, you can do it, with scheduled messages like we were talking about. Oh, he's back. It cut out right when you did this.
Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, you were talking about the scheduled messages.
Yeah, scheduling messages. If you're a restaurant, you can go ahead and schedule that for, early morning menus every day. They're going to go out 9 a.m. Send a text message to all of your customers. So it's a really cool way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that you could set up scheduled or recurring. So
scheduled or recurring,
something.
Right.
Yeah. You can have something that goes out every Friday, whatever. It's multiple paths there. Yeah.
Yeah. The keyword triggered auto replies. I touched on that before. Really good with that. So let's say somebody wanted to speak to a manager or a supervisor or was interested in purchasing, right? You're able to go ahead and just send them an auto reply correctly. Everybody gets notifications within the organization as well. The templates are huge. Again, I like to use keyword-based templates for a lot, for the auto replies as well. But the templates, you can already have your entire library of preset templates on there. So closures like...
Yeah, crafted narratives on maybe company products or services that can easily be pulled into a conversation with just a click. So you can, this is great for new employees too, who are maybe watching what texts come in. They're that first line. You can build templates out for everything. They can pull it in, have tons of data, sound like they know what they're doing from day one. Sorry, Anthony, you cut out again. So
no, it's fine. I'm sorry. My computer's on the fritz lately. One other thing that we actually used templates for was for a golf tournament, right? So we were able to load everybody's name into there, and we were able to set the holes because you have custom fields on there where they were starting off from. So again, really helpful tool, really flexible. They could be used for pretty much anything you put your mind to on it, but really important is those messages coming in that you're missing, I think is the bigger part there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the last component to this, which Anthony already touched on a bit, is this is a blast message capable platform. So if you need to send hundreds of messages out at a single time about a promotion or a service or whatever, this can absolutely do that. And when those responses come back in, it's not like the group text with your family where everybody sees, so-and-so chatting back and forth. These are one-to-one interactions. You can interact with them and deal with them as they respond in. So, and that brings us straight, and Anthony teased this a bit, but we wanted to talk about the TCR again because it is, a regulatory piece to texting as a business. A little different than texting through your cell phone. There's regulations around that are different than texting as business. But this whole process, we try to simplify it new. So again, we walk you through the process. There's a vetting piece involved, usually 2 to 3 weeks to, again, these are real people at the TCR that vet your business and your use cases on why you're texting. And it's all to help mitigate spam texts, which I think we've all experienced, and they're the worst. So, I had to touch on that before we then get to kind of the biggest piece to all of this. We've touched on, again, data points, reasonings why, industries, business texting, it's a thing. The discovery component is really important when it comes to implementation. I think, Anthony, you probably know that better than anybody because you've been involved with so many direct calls, helping our partners, talking to customers about, well, they don't even know what to deploy, and you walk them through that process, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something on that's going to stick, right? So if I'm talking to you as a customer or a partner is talking to their customer, there's somewhere where there's a communication gap, right? And most of the time it comes down to messaging. It really does. And we're a phone company, right? That's what we are. We're a software company, but we're a phone company. That's the blood that runs through our veins, right? And the messaging side, we've just seen such increases in adaptability with that. And it's, again, there's just a few, and there's not a lot of questions that need to be asked, right? Or that you need to ask yourself on it. And you can really pinpoint that, and find the right solution, right? Like we mentioned too, it's flexible. So it doesn't matter if they have a traditional phone system that they've had forever. We can layer text messaging on top of it. If they just need to activate it on their UCaaS platform, we can activate that pretty quickly, right? We still have the 10 DLC campaign registry, but that's really the longest kind of spread on that. If they're using Microsoft Teams and just want that enhancement for SMS messaging, right? You're doing everything else through there. You can go ahead and add that. Or if you're one of our Zoom Phone customers, we can go ahead and activate that on there for you too, right? So really the discovery is, where do you feel like you're missing connections with your customers? And a lot of the customers are just wanting to text it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I'm going to throw a poll up on screen real quick. And this is really just to kind of, I want to gauge the room we're talking to. If you feel like you are ready to have discovery call, if you're a customer with us, if you're a partner, you think you have an idea on how you can implement this with your customers, go ahead and answer the poll right now. We'll take it down here in a minute. And as the poll's going up, I just want to read off some of these questions on screen and just kind of get the mind turning. If a customer texted your main business number right now, where would that text message land? Is it going into the void, or is it going to someone within the business? Is it someone that's going to handle that interaction with care and move things where they need to go? How many of the calls your team takes each day could have been a text? It's a really compelling thing to think about. And a lot of people haven't, believe it or not. Who on your team is already texting customers from their personal cell phone? Getting business texting into the world is another way you can keep business in the business world. If you don't want people within your company texting from their personal cell phone, this is another great thing to help. They can do it all through a mobile app, or they can do it all through their Zoom app, or Simply Connect even has a mobile app. What happens to that conversation history the day that person leaves? Kind of ties into what I was talking about earlier. But if people are doing all the interaction on their personal cell phone, you can't get that data if they leave the company. That's their personal cell phone. So are your reminders, delivery updates, and payments notices going out to the channel people actually check? And then lastly, is your brand registered with the campaign registry? Yeah, we already touched on that one. So cool. This is absolutely crazy, but I'm not even kidding you when I say the poll results, 50% are already saying they want a discovery call of everybody that did it. This is just to show you how compelling and powerful this stuff is. So thanks for everybody joining in on that. Love to see it. And with that, I do want to jump into the Q&A, see if there's anything that we missed. Anthony, we've been yapping for 27 minutes. Can you believe it?
Well, you've only heard me for about 4 because of my connection. So
that's right. What kind of computer do you have? Who do we get to blame?
brand new one.
So, love it. Oh, nice. What's that saying? Like new technology is the worst. Give me something that's like my my dishwasher's 20 years old and it's the best thing ever. Sorry, I get distracted here. So we've got some questions. Great question. This is about Simply Connect. Does Simply Connect run on a PC? Does it have a mobile app or web app?
It's 100% web-based. Oh, go ahead, Phil.
No, go.
So it's 100% web-based. You can run it from any browser. You also have a mobile app that you can use for it as well. So
yeah, and that's browser. So Mac, PC, doesn't matter. And then yes, Android or iOS, either one's fine. Let's see. Wow, we got a lot of questions here. Is there data to share with our marketing team? We can absolutely share any of the data that we showed in this presentation. We can absolutely do that. And we do have more data we didn't even get to touch on. So yeah, great question. If you know who your channel account manager is, reach out to them right away, or reach out to, we've got and this is kind of a teaser where time's getting ready to run out here, but we do actually have a survey at the end where you can give us some feedback. Let us know how you thought we did today, whether we were amazing or awful. Please be honest. And then also, if you do want to jump in on a discovery call, give us more details on what it is you're looking at implementing or how you're thinking of presenting this to your customers. We got a couple extra fields. So once you leave the call, keep an eye out for that. You can't miss it. It's just going to pop up in front of your face on the screen. Let's see. I think there's one other question that I can get it to here. Sorry. I love it when I get too many questions because then I get to look like a doy staring at the screen. Yep. Cost. Cost is important. That's why discovery is so important. We get on a call with you. We talk about what implementation you're looking at, and that's when we can jump in and start getting you pricing. So great question. Let's jump on a call. And then, okay. The other questions are ones that would take a little longer for us to answer. We'll get to you guys in post on those. We're not going to let those go away. We've got them all here saved. And then, yeah, that kind of puts us right up at time. Thank you again all for joining. This has been great. I really appreciate your time, participation in the poll. Again, the survey at the end. Please let us know how we're doing. We are big fans of feedback. And Anthony, really appreciate your time. Great having you with us as always.
No, thank you. And thank you everybody else for their time, for taking a bit of their afternoon to hang out with us. So.
Yep, absolutely. Again, this will be going on post. So you need to see it again or someone missed it, coming to you next week. With that, everybody have a fantastic rest of the week. We will see you all in the next one. Bye, y'all.